Hello, everybody. Cody here. So, I was feeling called to come on here just to kind of discuss some of the energies. I woke up and it was a very peculiar sort of energy in the air today, and I couldn't sort of decide if it was a good energy or if it was a bad energy or if it's a good energy disguised in negative symptoms. I wouldn't even necessarily call it negative symptoms either because, it wasn't necessarily me feeling kind of thrown. It wasn't me feeling disoriented. It wasn't me feeling lost. It wasn't me feeling confused. It was just different, And sometimes when there's sort of a different energy in the air, we tend to project our own fears onto that energy coming in. And of course, those energies are not always non-physical. Those energies are sometimes the people that we're living with at the time. And what I've found with this energy, because I woke up and there was an energetic entity that was, the best way I can describe it is they laid over my shoulders and they sort of infused me with this light, and the light went through my crown and right into my solar plexus. And I was watching my solar plexus expand. So I did know that there was going to be some sort of shift, that I had become a match to that shift in that moment. Granted the trajectory up until that moment in time. However, what I found, of course, when we are in these collective groups, these symptoms as well as the timing of these symptoms are very much linked. And there are a number of people who usually kind of can detect that a little bit as well. There was even another person that I ran into that I heard saying something similar, having some physical twitches and shifts that would sort of indicate some sort of shift in the energy, something happening. And I just wanted to come on here just to talk about that, to ground that, and to actually pull in some perspective about this energy coming in. It does look like a shift. It does look like transformation. Many of us are leveling up and we're exhibiting new abilities, new shifts, new perception, new stages of healing that sort of evoke different symptomology that we will confront in the form of different themes that exalt us into our true connection with Source, with the universe, our interconnectivity. So I'm going to use some of the questions on the Divine Creators with Cody Singh Facebook group today. And we're going to scroll through and we're just going to have a conversation. We are, of course, opening channels, so the guides are here, the guides are present, and they will be guiding this interaction, okay? I think they really just want me to come on here and talk. Talking is sometimes a way of grounding, especially when you're speaking in terms of communing with these higher vibrations, these higher consciousness. It does allow us the opportunity to ground in ways that we can feel sort of ungrounded when we're not tapping into that source first and anchoring that within us. And there are a number of ways we do that, and it's usually involuntary, depending on how self-aware we are, right? You can connect to source through watching a video. You can connect to source by listening to your instinct to go take a shower and, or a bath in warm water. You can sync up with source by going out, stopping what you're doing for work for the day or for a moment just to go check the mail. Having a delicious bite to eat, anything that can kind of raise your energy, shift your thoughts. Can you imagine all the ways that our thoughts are fluctuating on a daily basis? Okay, moment by moment, how many times our vibrations are shifting? When your thoughts are fluctuating that much, that means your vibration is fluctuating that much. That means your point of attraction is shifting that much as well. So it's important to keep that in mind and find clear anchors for you that resonate with you specifically to help you ground that energy, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through some of these questions here. And anything that sort of jumps out. We'll probably just get to a whole bunch here. So Kaladin says, hi Kaladin, that's an awesome name. Greetings, this is my first post here. I'm curious if anyone wants to share what is the color of my aura. Cody saying any insights? Absolutely. So first off, I just want to say, for those of you in the future with the aura posts, the aura posts started with this thing that I was calling aura empowerment, and it was sort of to prove and help people understand that auras are not just colors, they're vibration, which means you can literally detect people's auras without even seeing them. And sort of the practice of detecting that energetically, vibrationally, you can tell the frequency of a blue that's different from the frequency of a red, okay, that's different than the frequency of a yellow. They all have different signatures, and we're all on some level familiar with that frequency, okay? Blues and purples, of course, those spectrum of colors are emotionally aware, heart-centered, often, teachers, okay? Purples, the purple spectrum, are often very spunky or enigmatic or artistic, free-spirited, okay? They have a presence when they speak, and they have very strong opinions that is anchored in what they believe is truth, okay? And then the blues, of course. The blues are sensitives, they are empathic, they're compassionate, okay? So all the blues have this element. They're often teachers as well, spiritual teachers, great writers as well. For you, Kaladin, so your aura colors, your dominant colors. And again, when we do these posts, I just like to tell people, because a lot of the other people on this group like to guess them as well. So if we could do just like a white background, okay, 2 or 3 feet out, and then give it a guess. Give your best guess. You don't have to be right or wrong about your aura colors, but I just like people to give it a shot because they're usually onto something, especially if you're familiar with just what colors feel like in general, So Kaladin, you're a nature which is quite emblematic of a lot of the greens. So greens are very nature connected. However, the thing about greens as well is they're mental thinkers, okay? Greens are mental colors. So you also have secondary light blue in this photo, Kaladin. And again, auras, colors, they're usually central to us. It can shift depending on what we're doing. Sometimes people pull in blues depending on what they're doing, but it certainly does look like the green and the light blue are very central to you. So the green would be your mental aspect. The green is the aspect of you that can sort of mentalize the information, that can, create strategy or sort of analytically look at emotions or anything really from a mental perspective, from a perspective that will help you sort of line up the logic and rationality, and also just view it from a mental point of view as opposed to the blue in you. So the blue in you is the emotional aspect, the kindness, the consideration. This combination with green and blue is actually very good for shadow work, because people who like to work with shadow work or work on others with shadow work, for example, there has to be an analytical component, okay, where you can sort of assess the situation, and then there has to be the emotional aspect where you can actually emotionally attune and intuit, where that person is at emotionally. And working with those two energies together can create a pretty good shadow worker, okay? Especially when they're in spiritual communities. So when I see that combo, Kaladin, I always know, okay, this is a person who has that sort of quality and perceptive nature and emotional intelligence coming for them in the future, in their personal development, or actively already. Your field looks really clear here. A lot has to do with self-work on yourself. There, your field is pretty clear, which tells me that you are tapped into your awareness, your consciousness, and you're also in nature, which does clear people's fields very, very effectively. So I hope that clears up a bit for you, Kaladin. So the green is like a lighter tone. It's not quite an emerald green. It's more like, yeah, it's just a lighter tone of that, okay? So Jose says, "Hi all. What do you think of my art?" I love it. Jose just posted this photo of something that he drew in the sand. And what I will say, Jose, is I see a female spirit in this. So on some level of your consciousness, you were picking up on the feed of that stream of consciousness of that being who is one of your guides and who does like to communicate to you in these creative and artistic ways, okay? So if you feel called in a fun, can you notice like the feeling, for example, that you had when you were doing this? It felt fun, right? It felt light, felt enjoyable, okay? It felt like free-spirited. That is the energy of this being, and that's how they like to work with you. There are always going to be higher vibrational feelings, okay? Feeling states. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty cool, Jose. Definitely. Sorry, I'm gonna look at some of the comments here. Yes, seems like other people were picking up on, that there is a lot of energies coming through here in terms of spirits. So somebody says, Phoenix says, what does it mean to have an aquamarine aura? I can't find much information on it until the book is available. So talking about my book, the Channel of the Universe. So that's going to be coming out later this summer, and Phoenix is talking about the aquamarine aura. So aquamarine is part of what I consider the blue spectrum, okay? So aquamarine auras, again, they have that compassion, they have that nurturing quality, they have that spiritual nature, that spiritual intelligence, that emotional intelligence. What separates them from the other blues is their incredible healing quality to their being. You're in their presence and you just feel light, you feel healed, you feel soothed. Okay, they have a really great physical healing ability. Okay, aquamarines are very, keen on their skin health, holistic health, organic health. Okay, veganism, things like this, aquamarines kind of have an interest for, okay? That doesn't mean every single aquamarine is a vegan, but it does mean that they kind of gravitate towards things like essential oils or crystals. They have that high consciousness that can tap into these things and really have a great understanding of people and energies through that as well. So this is from Frederick Anderson, posting in the group. Thank you for that. It's really beautiful. I just had to kind of sit with it for a moment. There's a beautiful ascended being who's laid over you, right? So you're sitting in this kind of position, scrunched down, and then there is this ascended being that just sits right atop you. Okay, so you're one with this being, when you're doing this. So this is a beautiful way for you to connect to your spirituality, to your guides, to your higher consciousness, to raise your vibration, all of those things. I love it. Thank you for that. Okay, that was pretty amazing. Hi, Juliet Ivy. So I do this energy healing with my hands intuitively. This was working on my solar plexus. I'm curious as to what you guys sense that I'm doing, and I would love your input, Cody, about how my aura is changing and what what I'm doing this energy work for and what healing it's achieving. Okay. So I can see Juliet's doing this sort of energy work, right? Like right around her solar plexus. So you're absolutely moving energy there. And the first thing that we like to say is that it's really great to know that you are tapped into and attuned to your energy enough to know that there is a disturbance there and that there is something that you want to unlock, there is something that you want to release, that there is energy work required. The fact that you are aware of that is a step ahead of most people on the planet. A lot of people on the planet, are walking around with energy bodies that could use some energy work, but they are completely unaware of it. That is lack of consciousness. What you're demonstrating here, Juliet, is consciousness, okay? So again, doing this sort of energy work on your solar plexus. The other thing that we'd like to point out about this is it's clear that you're in a physical environment that sort of suppresses your needs, your voice, your authentic expression, okay, your freedom, your liberation, all of these sort of elements. Okay, you're actively sort of in an environment that is suppressing that, and that's why you're feeling called to do some of that energy work around your solar plexus. So what it looks like is, imagine this analogy. Imagine being submerged in cold water and then doing energy work to get warm again. The solution is not do energy work in the cold water to feel warm again. The solution is get out of the cold water so you can warm up again. And it's a much more effective way of balancing your energy than forcing yourself in an environment where it feels constricted and strained and more difficult to achieve that, if that makes sense. Okay? You're clearly tapped into your energy. You're clearly adept at doing energy work, okay? You're very familiar with this, okay? The other element to invite in here is the consciousness, okay? The consciousness that is guiding you into a place, where your energy will be flowing a lot easier, but it's coming against a very strong energy that is saying, okay, that's having you second guess your own thoughts and your own beliefs and what you think is right. There may be moments or flickers where you know what's right and then it's immediately sort of condemned, okay? Yeah, maybe just around people who kind of stifle your voice in one way or another as well, okay? So just keep that in mind. And in terms of, doing energy work, you're absolutely doing the energy work, but there was a little message that the guides were wanting to sort of plug in there for you as well. So I hope that analogy is useful for you as well. Thank you, Juliet. So Faith says, going through a lot lately and vacillating between feeling like everything will work out and feeling absolutely hopeless. For the first time, I've given up completely on romantic love, and friendship isn't far behind, along with having any hopes for my own path in life. Such a weird place to be. If anyone sees anything for me, I'd love to hear. So I just have to, on the subject of auras, we have to talk about this because Faith, your primary aura color is crystals. And what I hear is an extremely crystal post, vacillating between feeling like everything will work out and feeling like absolutely hopeless. Okay, crystals are chameleons. Okay, the crystal aura is a clear aura, and the reason for that is a clear prismatic aura. And the reason for that is because they sort of adapt different energies, different roles, and involuntarily transmute the energies of what they are taking on and send it back. So often when you look at a crystal, they're not all clear. They have various different energies that they're pulling in. Now, sometimes when you are in an environment that's very constricting or that forces you into one identity, the tendency can be to hold on to those energies or those colors, and you identify with it to the point where you're forgetting who you are. This chameleon aspect that comes with crystals, can make it so that you can, exercise different personalities, different, not in a negative way, but just enjoy different people, different roles, different opportunities. But sometimes it can be very, again, difficult to have your own kind of sense of identity and personal boundaries. And what we can see here in this photo is definitely that influence, sort of in a chronic way, where it has sort of compensated a lot of your own emotional buffers, your self-esteem, perhaps, or just your belief in yourself, It's sort of eating away at your spirit in the sense that, you are sort of giving up on yourself in a way. And I just want to say that the message for you is that consciousness is your liberation. Consciousness is your key. Consciousness is the way out of this sort of cell that you feel condemned in right now. It feels like you're in a void. It feels like there's no way out of this situation, or perhaps there is so much more responsibilities and things that are on your plate where it's difficult to prioritize your own needs, right? And it's difficult to even get yourself in a place where you can say, this is what I want for myself, this is what I want to do in my life, and without there being consequences. It's almost like you've set yourself up in a situation where if you were to take those liberating actions, people would punish you for it, people would criticize you for it, people would judge you for it, and you are also in a place where you believe, what other people believe about you, okay? So this can feel very difficult, but it is also very relatable. And the good thing about what we're seeing here is that you are referencing and resourcing spaces of consciousness that help you realize, okay, that speak to the part of you that knows there is, a way out of feeling like this, okay? That there is a way out of this sort of forsakenness, or a way out of just feeling so trapped, So looking through this again, for the first time, I've given up completely on romantic love, and friendship isn't far behind. Well, we can see that you have lost hope in yourself, but we have not lost hope in you. And there's your guide who is here, hasn't lost hope on you as well, which is why you felt guided to post this, which is why you feel guided to explore spaces that help plug in the consciousness that will help you find yourself again. There have been other times in your life where you have felt this constricted, where you have felt kind of lost, where, maybe the circumstances were very similar or similar themes in different contexts. And you have made it out of that. And there have been moments, that have come along where the consciousness has come to you that have informed your direction out of these situations, or out of this emotional state of being. Okay? It doesn't take much to lift your spirit again. It takes, someone connecting to you, on a heart-based level, somebody feeling you emotionally, and somebody seeing you in the way that you know who you are deep down. It doesn't take much to pull people out of these places. It takes love, it takes compassion, it takes consciousness, it takes just attentiveness, it takes prioritizing you, and there are people in the world that want to do that for you, and that goes for everybody, every single one of you who are watching. It takes to get out of the hole that you believe or perceive yourself in is one person gazing to you in your eyes and in your heart from that place. That's all it takes. So just remember that yes, you're feeling low right now, but that switch into that good state of being again will happen, and it will happen quickly. And when it does, you'll remember who you are, okay? And you need to practice that. You need to practice that consciousness, that thought. Prioritize those things that feel good when you're in that good state of being, okay? Thank you, Faith, for just offering us that opportunity just to talk about these things like that, okay? None of us are alone. I think we are probably good to go here. Just revisiting, some of the energies that we talked about in the beginning of this video. Excuse me while I scroll. I'm just looking here. Let's see here. Juliet says, this is another question that Juliet said that is jumping out. So thank you for your great questions, Juliet. I'm generally vegan, although I do like to eat eggs from pet chickens that are not in distressing environments. I'm currently house sitting at a place with 7 chickens who have a lush backyard to enjoy. That's got a foresty vibe. When I energetically tune into these eggs, the vibration is much, much higher than commercial eggs that you can find in the shop, and they don't have the same trauma energy. I'm so curious to what others pick up on these eggs, and perhaps if there's an aura to them as well. So I think we were called to this because there's a lot of consciousness in this message. Spirituality is not that black and white. It's not eat this, don't eat that, eat this, and not this, don't engage with that, person. It's not that black and white, it is about vibration, and it is about intent, and your intention determines the vibration of what you create as well. So as you said here, Juliet, you said, although I do like to eat eggs from pet chickens that are not in distressing environments, although you are primarily vegan. It's just important to sort of assess, and this goes not just for you, Julia, this is just for everyone in general. Just assess, okay, what's my intention for being vegan? Sometimes it's just a byproduct of the lifestyle that you live, and it's perfectly fine, but that doesn't mean that it is wrong or bad from a universal perspective to eat, eggs, for example, and you are right, these are high vibrational eggs. And there is a thing that, if you do eat some of these commercial eggs, of course they do vibrate lower. Of course it's not necessarily good for your energy, but there's another important feature to consider here when we talk about, we're afraid of eating an egg, or we're afraid of eating, something with cornstarch in it or something, we're focusing on the slightest little elements when the thing, it's like your thoughts and the energetic momentum behind your conscious thoughts are so much more just light years away, weighted, so much more influential than any other energy that's around you. You determine your relationship to the things around you based on the thoughts that you're thinking. You can reorganize a space from feeling like gross energy to feeling positive about it if you can shift your perception about where you are and what you are doing. If you can shift your perception about eggs, the way you consume it and the way your cells configure around the consumption of those eggs will modify as well. So the thing that we see sometimes with vegans is a lack of consciousness in not understanding your power as a creator, your power as a vibrational being, and not understanding law of attraction. Okay? If you have a negative relationship to what you are eating, yes, it will affect you in negative ways. There are nutritionists even nowadays who don't even recognize law of attraction, where there is a lot of science behind what they are doing. And what you will see with a lot of these nutritionists is they will say it's not what you eat, it's how you eat it. It's the stress energy that you are considering in the process of eating that is determining how your body is retaining it. Okay, it's so, so important to plug in consciousness in everything that we're doing, and it is not that black and white. That being said, love veganism. You know, I was vegan for many years. I still am most of the time. I don't eat meat, you know, because that's a product of my lifestyle, and it works for me. And yeah, just thank you again, Julia, for that opportunity to just shed some light on that, okay? We dictate our lives. Our vibration dictates our experience, not any of these external little forces, okay? Keep that in mind. All right, guys, I think we're done here. I just wanted to talk a little bit and just come on and share again. Some of the energy coming in today was very interesting, very peculiar, and I just wanted to be able to sort of ground that energy a bit, just connect with you guys and make sure that you understand that we're all in this together, that I can feel you, I hope you can feel me, and that we do have a common intention, and that's why we are where we are. So thank you all again from the bottom of my heart. Peace and love to all of you, and take care.